There's a small chance that I'm going to the Dolphins-Buffalo game, by the way.
What?
Yeah. That's back in the cards.
Well, if you're going, I'm going.
I know. Hey everybody, JC Parets here, founder of AllStarCharts.com, and I am joined by my main man, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Sean McLaughlin. How are you, Sean?
What's up, everybody? What's up, JC?
Coming off an embarrassing loss in Miami. Those Buffalo Bills barely even showing up. Miami only need to run like a third of the plays to beat Buffalo. Kind of just no big deal.
Listen, enjoy the win while you can. The Bills beat themselves. The Dolphins had nothing to do with it.
All right. Yeah. Buffalo, they beat themselves. Yeah. So speaking of beating themselves, have the Perma Bears, have the Shorts, have they overstayed their welcome, Sean? Because they were getting awfully loud, people getting scared. And when people get scared, you know me, man, I like selling naked puts in Berkshire. It's kind of just my thing.
It's your go-to move, and for good reason. And Straz and I were talking yesterday about how, I don't know, man, it's starting to smell like we're about to get a face ripper bear market rally any day now. And is today the day? I don't know, but it's starting to feel like it isn't it?
Well, we sold them in the morning. You weren't convinced. We had our meeting. What time's our meeting? At 10 o'clock. So it was early this morning. And I'm like, we got to be selling puts. What are we selling? I think that's literally my first sentence in our meeting was, Sean, what are we selling? And, I don't want to keep, I say that it's my thing to sell puts in Berkshire, but to me, I try to maybe be a little more creative, and we try to get a little more creative. We're maybe somewhere in growth, And I was like, you know what? I'm selling puts in Berkshire, whether you guys like it or not, whether we put it out for our clients or not. I'm going to do it. And then, so that was I got filled at 773.
Not only did you say you were going to do it, but you did it in the middle of our meeting. You're banging keys, putting trades on.
All business, baby. I mean, come on, money doesn't sleep, and the market doesn't care that we're in a meeting,
Well, I was hesitating a little bit because I noticed that the earnings, their next earnings event is November 4th, which is before November expiration. So that's what gave me a little pause. I had to think about it a little bit more, but I eventually joined you. To my detriment, I collected a little less than you did getting into the trade.
I want to talk about some outlier risk here on this particular strategy. Whether it works this particular occasion or not, it's worked a lot in the past. Which is why I probably keep going back to it, because it works a lot. But I want to talk about an outlier risk in a minute on this particular strategy. But let's just stick with this trade today. Let's talk about the risk management. For me, if we break the June lows, all bets are off. You cover it. I mean, for me, it's that simple. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. If we get down to 260, which is our short strike, we sold the 260 puts. If we see it close below 260, we're not going to argue with this thing. We're going to close it out and book what will likely be a loss. Hopefully, it'll be a manageable one.
It probably won't be too much, because if that's happening, volatility is probably spiking and those premiums are still relatively elevated. It'll probably be a little bit of a loss. I mean, it might even be a little bit of a gain, but that's not the point. Out regardless, no matter what, because the thesis is now been invalidated in that particular instance. Now, let's say that we're right. This is a high probability of success trade, regardless of the fact that I've had a lot of success with this particular strategy in the past with Berkshire. Regardless of my experience, this types of strategy just is a higher probability. You're going to have a higher hit rate with this particular types of strategy, because volatility tends to mean revert. And with volatility elevated, particularly with Berkshire at support levels, the higher probability outcome is that we're going to be successful. So if that is the case, we already have the plan if it's not successful. But if it is successful, which there's a higher likelihood that it will be, what's the plan? I got my resting order at 390. So I sold it for 773. Sean got in at 685. Half of my 773 is approximately 390. I got a resting order, good till canceled. I'm not, it's working in my direction, but it's still got room to go. It could trigger tomorrow, it could trigger next week.
Well, neither of us are expecting this, but where your first green arrow there was pointing back in June, that's when we last put that trade on. And as you can see from that green candle, the very next day, you close that out the very next day, hit your profit target. I remember that.
I also sold it at the beginning of September too.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. That one didn't work out so well.
Days later. Yep.
Oh no, yeah, it did work out. Yeah, I see it.
Yep.
Well, look, I mean,
a few more times. That's how we know this one won't work.
I know we jinxed it. But I like what you said about the odds being in our favor. It's a high probability play, just the structure of the trade itself. But additionally, the other edge we have is that zone of support that you've drawn on the chart. I mean, that's just another edge that kind of stacks in our favor that has proven to be an important level in the past. And if the market finds its footing here, we think it'll repeat the show again. And look, this doesn't have to be the absolute bottom for us to make money in this trade. It just has to be the bottom for the next, 2-3 weeks, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or even a few days, depending on just how much volatility contracts. Like in September, that wasn't the bottom. It was a temporary bottom, and I hit our target. Like we nailed it. And it wasn't. Yeah. It was only 1, 2, 3. It was only 4 days of upside, and our target I think I hit on the second or third day. So It doesn't have to be, like Sean said, it doesn't have to be this ultimate bottom. It could just be a temporary pause, and that is enough for volatility to mean revert. That's how I look at it. Okay, now that's this trade. That's today. Let's get back to the strategy of I'm always selling puts in Berkshire when fear spikes, because that trade works a lot. What about the outlier if Warren Buffett passes away? We find out, news hits, Warren Buffett, passes away at the age of.
Oh, you're going there, huh? Wow.
I'm just saying that because I this is the feedback that I get from our audience, and our audience is really smart. Like we always say, our audience is a smart money. Isn't that a good, valid outlier risk that we are taking by selling naked puts in Berkshire?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really thought about that, but now that you're forcing me to think about it, I think the analog that we can look at is back in, 2014 when Steve Jobs passed away, right? When Steve Jobs passed away, Apple's stock very, briefly sold off, but very quickly rebounded because the whole world knew that, hey, Apple's a well-run company and it's in good hands. And I think the same situation would play out with Berkshire. Yes, the headline would scare people. I would anticipate the stock to sell off in the immediate aftermath of some kind of news like that. But I think overall, the company and the stock would be just fine.
All right. It's a good thing to bring up. No, I thought it was an interesting point.
Yeah. I don't want to think about those kinds of things, but yeah, you're right.
Yes, but as risk managers, which at the end of the day is what we are, that is an inherent risk in this particular strategy. Granted, that is a risk in, maybe, Tesla, being long Tesla or something like, you got enough risk with that one, I think. But, something happened to Elon or something like that. The difference is Elon's a lot younger.
Well, this reminds me of the conversation you and I had right before we went live. We were talking about what's going on in Florida right now, the hurricane, and, hey, fingers crossed, everybody who's down there. We know we have a lot of fans and friends down there. But you were making the point of, hey, look, it's hurricane season. The people who live there have to be ready for this. They have to have a plan. So something like what we're talking about here with Berkshire, hey, this is a possibility. It's something we have to be prepared for. You're right.
And that's where position sizing comes in, right? It all comes back to position sizing.
Yep, for sure.
For power, Sean.
Nice position sizing piece you had. I think you sent out this morning an email.
Oh, you like that?
It's always
a little friendly reminder, don't be afraid to position size responsibly. And so you can sleep well at night. Sleeping well at night is a good thing, Sean. I don't know if you heard.
Hey, you're a smart guy. I hate to fluff your pillows. You're a smart guy, but I love it when you go back and touch on the basics because, hey, we got people from all stripes and all experience levels that come to All-Star Charts for guidance. And so it's good that you remember that there's some people who still need to be reminded of some of those very, very important basics.
Listen, they're good reminders for myself too, and good reminders for all of us, no question, things like that. Another good one I brought up today, I tweeted out just earlier, the rule is 16 for volatility index divided by 16. That's how much the options market is pricing in for a daily move in the S&P. So VIX at 32 divided by 16, that's a 2% move. that you could have on a daily basis. That's what the market's pricing in. But what people forget is that it goes in both ways. It could be 2% in either direction.
Yeah, funny you say that because S&P's up 2% as we're speaking.
It's just math, Shawnee, baby. It's just math. You know what I'm saying? Don't be mad at it. Don't be mad. All right, listen, as always, I'm JC Parets, founder of allstarcharts.com. This is the homie Sean McLaughlin, chief option strategist, and sad Buffalo Bills fan mostly.
Hey, you know, normally I would shit talk Miami Dolphins, but right now, my fingers are crossed for all our friends in Florida.
Things are good. You're a Dolphin fan headquarters over here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying?
the one Dolphins fan.
She does the waddle. She starts dancing.
You're the one Dolphins fan within 600 miles of your house.
All right, guys, that's enough.